Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Sea of Nadia. Sea of Nadia is brought to you by Maclay's Games. It's for 2 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, and games range anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes. In Sea of Nadia, you take on the role of a fearless and, dare I say, fierce captain, roaming the seas and hunting for treasure in the mysterious waters of Nadia. During your quest for gold, you will also be collecting resources, uncover hidden treasures, and even gaining some special abilities. Work together with your fellow captains and then steal from them while their back is turned. But you will also need to keep an eye on the waters. This is where the legendary Kraken awaits. Will you be able to escape its watchful eye? In the end, let the compass guide your every action. Do you have what it takes? Alright, so just a quick look at setup. Now the main thing to know here is that based on the player count, will determine how many chests get put out and how many resources and so forth. But really what you're looking for is you're putting those out on the X's on the board. You're putting all the chests randomly and you're placing resources on them. Now, each player is going to get a captain. And, you know, there is captain abilities in this game which can play into your actions that you perform, but you don't have to play with those abilities. But I like to play with those abilities. Now, it's important to note that each of these captains has their own reference card as well, and the reference card is fantastic because it shows you how many resources are needed to open each of the chests. Because in this game, it's all about opening chests and gaining gold to be the ultimate captain of the seas. All right, so you'll place all this stuff in your play area. You'll take your ship and place it to the side because that's be the first thing you do in your turn is placing it out into the ocean. Now there is an Admiral's token, first player token, that will be handed out. Now, if you are a second, third, or fourth player, you will be given a bottle. The bottle essentially is going to give you additional actions that you can use on your turn at some point. It's a one-time use. So those are kind of the basics of setup. Now, the thing to note, as I say in all these videos, yes, this is a big prototype version of the game. So this crease that you see in the middle of the board is not representative of the game itself. So keep that in mind. This is a beautiful board though, fantastic. Now, there's compass points all around the board. And you will randomly deal these out to the edges because they can change up how you play the game based on which side of the compass you're using. So it can really change each of the games that you play quite a bit. And then you have all the bottle tokens you'll place to the side, as well as your market cards. And then you're basically ready to start the game. So gameplay here is very straightforward. You, as the Admiral or the first player, are going to take a number of dice based on the player count. You're going to roll these dice. There are symbols on them and numbers. Numbers equate to the number of actions you can perform, and the symbols relate back to the compass spots. Now, these compass spots can do good things, they can do bad things. Like the bottle will allow you to acquire one of the bottles on the side of the board. These are pretty interesting because they can do several different things throughout the game for you, and you may need to use them regularly or hold on to them for higher point scoring at the end of the game. But again, you'll acquire a bottle and put it in your area. You can ever only have 3 bottles though. So the other thing is that you might run into a Kraken, which is a negative and will slow down the movement of your ship. But the thing you're doing with the dice is you will, as the Admiral or the first player, assign the dice to the different players, and then you're going to perform actions. So actions are going to equate to things like movement. And if you look at the board, you have these areas on the board that look like the waves are breaking. Those are the movement spots, and you'll count it out. For every movement you perform is an action. And obviously you're going to be acquiring resources, so you have to be adjacent to these resources, and you'll pick them up and move them to your ship for an action. Now, your ship can ever only hold 4 resources at any one time. So you might need to unload resources to make room for ones that you need. Again, you have to be adjacent, and where you're unloading has to have less than 3 resources already there, or you can't unload. And the big action that you're going to be performing on your turn, the thing you're most coveting, is opening chests. And there are wood chests, there are silver chests, and there are gold chests. And based on which chest you're opening will require different types of resources to do so. Obviously, the gold chest is going to have a higher probability of better gold, which is going to require 4 resources. And if you look at your player aid, it shows you exactly on the guide here what you need to open each of the chests. So that's really your primary goal, is trying to get to those chests. Now, if there's resources on top of the chest, you can't open that chest until you take the resources. And so that's another action you might perform. Now, just like the chests that require certain resources, you can go to the market and pick up a card. These cards do all kinds of different things throughout the game. You know, they allow you to betray and things of that nature, allow you to move your ship anywhere on the board, things like that. And they're really useful. But again, you're gonna have to pay the cost and resources. Now, when you pay cost and resources for either the chests or for the cards, the interesting thing here is you'll take them off your ship and then you will get to distribute them back into the world. Again, following the rule that you can't ever have more than 3 resources on a spot. You're looking for the X's on the board, and that's where the resources go, or on top of chests. And that's really the key here, is that those resources don't disappear from the world, yet they stay in play. Now, the final 2 actions are going to go back to the market deck. So you can burn an action to refresh the market. You know, discard the 3 cards that are there and draw 3 new. You're doing this because you're looking for something special or trying to prevent your fellow players from acquiring certain cards. But the other action, though, is activating the abilities on these cards. And these different abilities can really enhance what your captain can do. Now, you can ever only have 3 cards in your play area at any one time, but they do all kinds of different things, like I said before, and a lot of them are one-time use, but that will burn an action. Like for sabotage, you can pull up next to one of your fellow players and steal resources from them, and then you'll discard the card. So there are lots of things that can tip the scales in your favor, so to say. And then finally, the other thing to keep in mind is if you're playing with the captain's abilities, those take place too. So like this one is one of my favorites. It is Captain Bartholomew. Yes, Bartholomew Roberts. He's awesome because the thing with him is that once you open a chest, his ability allows you to go back to the bottles, the message in a bottle, and acquire one of those as well. So playing with these different captain abilities really enhances the play as well. So you'll continue to play this way round after round until there are only 3 chests left on the board, which will end the game immediately, and then you'll score all your coins. And remembering that you might have bottles or cards that enhance different things that you found in your chest. There are rats, let's say, but there are rats in some of the wooden chests, and there is a way to get bonus coins if you have found any rats. So keep that in mind. But the other way to end the game is there is a card called the Dead Man's Chest. Now, if you have acquired this card, then as soon as you hit 7 chests, you can win the game outright. However, it's 8 chests in a 2-player game. But this is just a quick way to end if you're just actively pounding away to get those chests. So you have the choice to play with this card if you so choose. It's not required. But really, the main way for the game to end is if there's 3 chests out on the board. And again, whoever has the most coins is going to be the ultimate captain of the seas. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview. Everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, before we talk any more, let's also mention the fact that this game has some augmented reality built into it, which is pretty slick. For learning the game, you can take, especially with the different ability or market cards, you can scan those cards and get a little tutorial about how the card works and so forth, as well as other elements in the game. So the augmented reality works fantastically well. I'm really impressed with that aspect of the game. It's not required that you use it. It's not needed to play the game, but it does enhance the experience greatly. And as far as that goes, the thing I really liked is how the redistribution of the different resources happen out on the board. It just works really, really well. It's a fast-paced game, and there's just a lot going on. And I really do suggest you play with the captain's abilities because it's so much more fun. I found it fantastic. But folks, ultimately, if this looks like something that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.